It's your girl, and welcome back to the only channel that gives you the truth raw and uncut. You're sitting there, maybe 55, maybe 60, looking at her 25-year-old smile on the screen and asking yourself, am I too old for this? Let me answer that for you, Kuya. That is the single dumbest, most dangerous question you can ask. It's the blood in the water. You think this is a game about love, but dating in the Philippines is high stakes poker, and asking for permission is the same as showing your hand. Pay attention. You're here because you're lonely. Maybe you're divorced. Maybe you've been invisible for 20 years back home. You have some money, a finite amount of time, and a heart that's been put through a meat grinder. You see that smile and you think, second chance. You think, soft landing. But what you see as a romance, the market sees as an opportunity. A predictable, vulnerable, and if you're not careful, extremely profitable asset. This isn't a vacation, it's a hostile takeover of your emotional balance sheet. You've been warned. Every sweet I miss you po text, every sob story about a sick auntie, every promise of eternal devotion is a bet on the table. And the stakes are not just your wallet, that's the cheap part. The real cost is your sanity, your time, your self-respect, and the last good years of your life. Losing here doesn't mean you go home sad. It means you become another broke, bitter ghost haunting the bars of Ermita, a cautionary tale that men like you refuse to believe until it's their turn. Here's the deal. She is not the enemy. You want to know who the enemy is? It's the man in your mirror who desperately wants to believe he is the one special exception. The guy who thinks his personality is so sparkling that the 40-year age gap is just a number. She is simply a player in a game with brutal house rules, and her entire family is the casino. They are not playing for fun, they are playing for keeps. And until you learn the rules, you are their favorite customer. So, I'm giving you the playbook, the field manual. This is not about finding love, it's about not getting slaughtered while you look for it. I am going to give you a set of brutally simple, non-negotiable rules for engagement. This is the operational strategy that separates the men who build a life here from the men who are buried here, financially and spiritually. These are the 5 rules you will master before you lose everything to a game you didn't even know you were playing. Before we start, you have to make a choice. You need to be brutally honest with yourself, right now, because every decision from this point on flows from this one answer. Look me in the eyes and tell me what you came here for, because you can't have it all. This isn't a resort, it's a battlefield. So what is it going to be? Do you want love? Do you want sex? Or do you want to survive? Alright, you decided what you came for. Good. That's the first step out of the fog and onto the grid. Let's get one thing clear. Rule number 1. You stop auditioning. Now. You think you're having a private one-on-one conversation, but you are on a public stage. Every other man in the room, every other foreigner on that dating app is your competition and your audience. Asking a 25-year-old for permission, asking, am I good enough, is like a general asking a scout for strategic advice. You've just surrendered your authority. She's not the only one who smells that weakness. The sharks in the water aren't just the locals. They're other guys just like you who figured out the game faster. They see you fumbling for approval and they know you're not a threat. You are just human terrain, a temporary obstacle. While she's busy keeping you distracted with sweet nothings and a pretty smile, her eyes are scanning the room for the real commander, the man who walks in like he owns the place because his mission dictates his every move. And that brings me to rule number 2. You are a potential partner, not a crisis ATM. The very first time she tells you about her sick Lola or a brother who crashed his motorbike, it is not a cry for help. It is an intelligence probe, a tactical test to see if you are a sucker. I saw a man from Texas, a good man, a smart man in his own world, pay for the same girl's college tuition for 3 semesters in a row. He was funding her entire social life, and he never got an invitation. The second your wallet comes out to solve a family drama, you have been successfully reclassified in her mind and in the mind of her entire network. You are no longer the prize, you are the utility. You are the walking, talking emergency fund. Her respect for you doesn't go up, it evaporates. Why would she respect a man who doesn't respect his own resources? You've just taught her, her friends, and her family that the fastest way to get your attention is to manufacture a crisis. You're not her king, you're her treasury. Listen to me. Losing a few hundred, even a few $1,000s, is not the real loss. That is just the cost of admission, the entry fee for learning this lesson. You've lost face, you've lost the frame, but you're still standing. And that's still the easy level. The next mistake we're going to cover is the one that doesn't just destroy your wallet, it obliterates your reputation and makes you a walking joke. We need to talk about what happens when you get emotional. So you think losing your money is the worst that can happen? Ay, Kuya, that's adorable. That's just the cover charge. Rule number 3. You stop reacting and start observing. The moment your heart rate spikes because she posted a photo with some other guy, you've already lost. That feeling, that hot, stupid jealousy, that's her testing the fences. She's not trying to make you angry, she's trying to see if you're weak enough to be controlled by your emotions. You've just handed her the remote control to your nervous system. You are the captain of the ship, not a taxi for hire. Is that clear? Now, let's talk about rule number 4, the ping pong protocol. Reciprocity is the only truth in this game. A connection is a volley. You serve, she returns. If you serve 10 thoughtful messages and she returns one-word answers, or worse, a request for a Gcash top-up, you are not in a conversation. You are playing with yourself. You are in a relationship with a ghost who only materializes when she needs something. Stop serving into an empty court. This brings us to the core of it, the rule that determines whether you build a life here or become a cautionary tale. Rule number 5. You must have a mission that is more important than her. Are you the captain with a map and a destination, or are you the taxi driver waiting for directions? The captain says, I am sailing to this island. You are welcome aboard. The taxi driver asks, Where to, ma'am? And ends up in a part of town he never chose with an empty tank. Your mission is your anchor. It's your business, your health, your purpose. When a woman sees you have a destination you will not deviate from, she has 2 choices, get on board or get out of the way. But if you have no mission, you become her mission. Your validation, your wallet, and your time become her project. She's not joining your journey. She's creating a job for herself as your emotional manager, and the salary is paid entirely by you in daily installments of your self-respect. So ask yourself, what is your destination? Write it down. Because every decision, from the next text you send to the next time you feel that flash of jealousy, must be weighed against it. Does this move me closer to my goal? Or am I just driving in circles for a passenger who sees me as a convenience, not a commander? The game changes completely when you stop negotiating with your own hope. You have to understand, most men are too addicted to the possibility to ever see the reality. Enough with the diagnosis. You know the battlefield. You know the enemy is your own undisciplined hope. Now we stop talking about the why and start executing the how. This is where I turn you from a spectator into a commander. Think of your life as an airport and your attention as the main runway. Not every plane that wants to land is cleared for approach. From now on, nothing gets on your runway without a brutally efficient pre-flight checklist. This isn't a romance, it's air traffic control for your soul. First, the filter. Is she even flight-worthy? This is a ruthless binary process. Does she have her own mission, her own job, her own life? Or is her full-time occupation being your girlfriend? Is her communication a net energy gain or a constant drain? You are looking for a co-pilot, not a professional passenger. If the answer to any of these is a no, she doesn't even make it to the gate. It's not mean, it's risk management. You are protecting your airspace from predictable system failures. Next, the stress test. You've seen the paperwork, now you see how the machine performs under pressure. This is where the ping pong protocol becomes your most valuable diagnostic tool. You send a high value serve, a planned, structured date you control. What comes back? A one word text? A request for money? You also test her with the word no. Say no to a small, trivial request and observe. Do you get a guilt trip or do you get respect? This isn't a game, it's data collection on her operating system. With that data, you make the go no go call. This is the captain's final decision before takeoff. She either meets the operational standard or she is grounded. There is no middle ground. There is no maybe if I fix this one thing. A sputtering engine on the tarmac doesn't get cleared for flight because the cost of a crash is total. You don't owe her an overhaul, you just deny clearance. Her drama, her failed flight check, that's her problem to solve back at the terminal, not yours. So there it is, the framework. Filter, test, decide. Every interaction, every request, every emotional bid is run through this logical sequence before it ever touches your feelings. This is how you reclaim command. You stop being a passenger in your own life and start being the man in the tower, making the calls. Now, get a pen and write this down. This was the strategy brief. In the next act, we deploy. We take this checklist into hostile territory and run a live fire exercise. You are not to be late. Welcome to the live fire exercise. Your phone lights up. It's a three-pronged attack in a single text message. 1. A sexy photo to get your blood moving. 2. A sudden crisis. Her cousin's tuition is late. 3. A demand disguised as an invitation. Come meet my friends tonight. Bring drinks. Your impulse is to react, to solve, to please. That is the loser's instinct. This isn't a friendly rally. This is a spin serve aimed directly at your head. You don't swing wildly. You get into position and prepare your return. First, the money. You see the request for tuition and your gut clenches. The old you would have sent the Gcash in a heartbeat, desperate for the validation. The new you, the commander, applies the framework. Filter. Is this my problem? No. Test. What happens if I say no? You reply, I hope you figure it out. I'm looking forward to our date on Saturday. You don't explain, you don't apologize. Your no is a statement of policy, not a negotiation. You will feel that cold sweat, but that is the feeling of power returning. Next, the invitation, the party. Your ego screams, go, show them you're the man. But the captain consults the map. The ping pong protocol is clear. This is a low value serve. You are being summoned. So you serve back on your own terms. Can't tonight, I have work. I will take you to a proper dinner on Saturday, just us. You are not her errand boy. You are the destination. You have just replaced her chaotic agenda with your structured world, and the ball is now on her side of the court. Now watch. Just watch. Her response is the only data that matters. Does she throw a tantrum? Does she ghost you? Or does she say, okay, Saturday sounds nice? If she fights you, she has failed the stress test. You did not lose a girlfriend, you dodged a system failure. Her drama is the engine sputtering on the tarmac. Your calm refusal to board a faulty aircraft is not cruelty, it is survival. You are not her savior, you are the air traffic controller for your own life. This entire exchange is the game in miniature. It proves the final, unbreakable law of this jungle. You do not get the woman you want. You get the woman you demonstrate you are willing to lose. Your power is not in your wallet or your charm. It is in your ability to walk away without looking back. Every time you enforce a boundary, you pass the test she didn't even know she was giving you. Now you know the rules. The only question left is, what will you build with them? So let's bring it home. We've been through the fire. Stop auditioning. Stop being a crisis ATM. Run the ping pong protocol. Be the captain, not the taxi. You see, a bee doesn't beg a flower for entry. It is drawn to the flower that has value. Your mission, your resources, your frame, that is your value. You don't chase. You build a garden so potent that the right flowers bloom for you on your terms. Your age was never the question. Your lack of a non negotiable mission was. Make no mistake about the stakes. The rules I gave you are not life hacks, they are the blast shield between you and oblivion. Every man who ignored them is now a ghost haunting a bar, a bitter punchline to a joke he never understood. He thought his love was special. The market saw a liquidation sale. You have a choice right now. You can be the commander in the tower, or you can be another piece of wreckage on the runway. It costs nothing to listen, but it costs everything to ignore. Now, I want to hear from you. This isn't a therapy session, it's an after action report. Get in the comments and share one story, your story or one you witnessed, of a man who learned these rules the hard way. Let the new recruits know this is real. Hit that like button as a salute to the men who are finally choosing to be captains. And subscribe because the next intelligence briefing is already being prepped. This war doesn't stop and neither do we. Don't you dare go AWOL. Finally, if this briefing saved you from a crash, you know the procedure. The PayPal and super thanks are below. Consider it your consulting fee for the armor I just handed you. You pay a doctor to save your life. You sure as hell pay the woman who stops you from giving it away for free. Now stop watching and start executing. You have 24 hours to run this checklist on your current situation. Get to work. And remember, always make her come for it.